Hi, this is John. This tutorial I'm doing is on lacing wheels. I do it differently than most other people do. It's kind of a half cross between a factory way a factory does it and how most wheel builders build it. A few different little tricks in here that are worth knowing. I think that makes it easier and faster the way I do it, although I'm sure other people would disagree. Just to remind you too, I do custom wheels. I build them here, and obviously they're made the way I do this tutorial. So the website is on the video, and without further ado, we'll get into the tutorial. Here are all of the parts for wheel building except for the rim. Unlike other builders, I have a plywood tabletop with a skewer going right through it to hold the hub up while I lace the wheel. If you're not going to build many wheels, a cardboard box will serve the same purpose. There are three different types of drilling on a rim. The conventional drilling has the spoke holes all in the center of the rim. There's another OCR, which means off-center rim, in which the spoke bed is off-center. And finally, there's an angled drilling, which is not that common, but occasionally you'll see it where the holes in the rim are angled to point to the hub shell. The spoke nipples I use are sapine polyax, in which the contact point between the nipple and the rim is rounded so that the nipple can swivel and point to the hub flange. Carbon rims are sometimes used angled drilling because the spoke bed is 4 millimeters thick and the spoke hole is only slightly wider than the nipple. The spoke will be angled where it enters the nipple. Most carbon rims now have larger spoke holes, which allow the nipples to angle and pivot toward the flange of the hub. First, fill the hubs with spokes. For non-disc wheels, I use a radial lacing for the front and the non-drive side rear. I use radial lacing for two reasons. It's slightly lighter and it has a better bracing angle. I use 2-cross on the drive side rear and on disc wheels because it's better for torsional load caused by the disc braking. This is an image of a non-angled drilling. When you look through the spoke hole on the other side, you'll see that it points a little bit higher than the rim. On this rim here, it doesn't show it because I couldn't get a good camera angle, but these holes point directly to the rim on the other side. Looks like it's hard to see, but actually it's pretty easy to see. Now we get into the actual lacing of the hub. Your first spoke should be one that goes to the right of the valve hole and has the spoke nipple pointed toward the center of the hub. Note that on my drive side rear spokes I use dual internal washers that I coat with a dry Teflon. I do this for a few reasons. Obviously it adds strength, but the washers perform one other critical function. Rims are drilled and have square shoulders in the spoke holes. Nipples dig into those shoulders, even with the polyax nipple, causing them to round out, which decreases strength of the rim. The dual internal washers, the nipple pushes the washers onto a larger area and prevents the nipple from deforming the spoke hole. Teflon also adds a little bit of ease to the building at high tension. Now we get to the actual lacing of the hub. I always start with the drive side and the rear hub. The first spoke should be a spoke head down, meaning spoke head down in the hub, and the spoke should go to the right of the valve hole. For a 2-cross pattern, you simply count 2 outward facing spoke heads and lace the second spoke over the first. You put that in the second hole to the right of the first spoke. If you were to cross 3, you would simply take the third head up spoke and put that in the second hole to the right of the first spoke. After that, you simply follow the pattern around the hub. The next spoke head into the right, counterclockwise on the hub, goes to the hole that is 2 holes to the right of the last spoke. Follow this pattern around, and the drive side is done. Note that I used 2 pieces of tape. I used 2 colors, one to cover the valve hole, and the other one directly opposite covers the seam in an alloy rim. On a carbon rim, there is no seam, so I don't use it on a carbon rim. The reason for doing this is that it gives you a very good indication where you are on the rim, and the spoke hole and the seam are where most of the issues come when you're truing the wheel. On my front wheels and drive side rears, I use a radial spoking, and that simply is taking any spoke on the hub. Again, put it into the first spoke hole on the right of the valve, and then just go right around the hub, and the spokes come out perfectly straight. So it's a real easy build. You can't really mess that one up. On all radial lacing, I always point the spoke heads facing out. That's primarily for looks. It actually would be slightly stronger if the spokes head pointed in, but it wouldn't look as good. Thanks for watching. My next video is going to be on tensioning the wheel. This is really where the rubber hits the road, and the difference between a good quality build and a bad quality build is all in the tensioning. I've got some tricks, and hopefully I'll have another one up in about a week or 2. And that's it. Thanks for watching.